Hi, my name is Rochelle McAllister, and this is my presentation on CSS Flexbox layout, better known as Flexbox. During this presentation, I'll be going over the following: why is Flexbox useful, Flex containers and Flex items, grouping elements, alignment options, wrapping, direction, and order, flexible items, and some additional resources. So one of the biggest reasons that Flexbox is so useful is because it's so versatile. It allows the designer to create a site that can look amazing and can have a really complex layout, which is not really attainable using Float unless you really play with it a lot. And it's a really great tool to use in conjunction with Grid. Flex containers and Flex items. A Flex container holds a group of Flex items and will normally control how they appear on a website. A Flex item is a direct child of the Flex container. Individual positioning of a Flex item is possible. However, the Flex container usually dictates the position of the Flex items within it. So this is an example of what this looks like before adding Flex container and positioning. So you can see everything's just kind of squished up on the side here to the left. And then when I added this bit of code, you can see that the Flex made all that information spread across the page and is positioned really nicely. So if you want to go ahead and try that, I included the bit of code so you can try it for yourselves, but I thought it was really useful and it kind of helped me understand a little bit more of how Flex works. Grouping elements within a Flex container can help change the entire layout of your website. So I found this cute little illustration on the web, and in here you can see there's no grouping, everything's evenly spaced. And then when two items have been grouped, these two Flex items are grouped, it changes the layout completely. And in order to get this effect, you're basically nesting things. So you just need to add an additional containing element to your HTML like a div. So this is an example of grouping and aligning Flex items. Here you can see this is what this code looks like. What I wanted to do to demonstrate this is I took the sign up and login and I moved it from the center to the Flex end. So it's at the very end of the Flex container, which is pretty easy. And all I had to do for that was add one little line of code saying justify content, Flex end, and it gave me that effect. So it's really fun. You can play with it a lot, and you can move the items within your Flex container anywhere that you want. One of the coolest things about using Flexbox is the option to arrange items horizontally and vertically on a website. Additionally, items can be aligned within the Flexbox. This example shows both vertical and stretch positioning using Flexbox. And some other really neat properties of Flexbox are wrapping, direction, and order. So just to go over what wrapping is right here, if you look at the top to the left, I have a little graphic that says no wrapping and then with wrapping. So what happened here is that without any wrapping, the pictures or the little boxes just continue. And I actually tried this code out and it worked just like that. But then if you don't want them to go over, you can apply the Flex wrap property and they will go down to the next line. And I took a picture of my code pin for that, and they did exactly that, and it was pretty cool. Another thing that I really enjoyed with using Flex is you can, decide the direction you want. things to go. You can have them things be in rows or columns, so you can definitely mix the two. So I tried using the flex direction column, and then it lined all of my boxes up in a row, and all I had to do is put in one little line of code to get that. And another really exciting and fun thing is that you can reverse the order of the flex items as they appear within the flex box. And that can be accomplished by using the row and column reverse properties. So in this little graphic, you can see they're slightly different colored boxes, but they want them to go in the reverse order. So you just type in row reverse, and it will do that. And you can do the same thing with the columns. So these are some pretty neat properties. So the flex property defines the width of individual items in a flex container, or more accurately, it allows them to have flexible widths. It works as a weight that tells the flex container how to distribute extra space to each item. For example, an item with a flex value of 2 will grow twice as fast as items with the default value of 1. And you can kind of see how that works. See the no flex here, then they all have equal flex, and then unequal flex right there. And I did the same thing over here, and I applied some code that would distribute the flex unevenly between these 3 columns, and it worked really great. And that's another good tool that you can use to create a really beautiful website. Flexbox has given us a lot of great tools to work with in laying out a web page that looks professional and can be complex. And I think compared to Float, it is definitely the way to go, definitely a lot easier to use. And it can produce a much better looking website. However, we need to remember that these Flexbox properties are just a language that lets you tell browsers how to arrange a bunch of HTML elements. The most difficult part is in planning and getting everything down on a piece of paper, or putting it into Illustrator so that you know how you want everything to come out on your page. And that's definitely the best thing to do before you just head in there and start coding. It's just to make a mock-up of how you want things to look, and I think that will make using Flexbox or Grid or Floats much easier. There are a few things that Flexbox is not really good at, so you might want to, use different tools depending on what you need to do. It's not great at tweaking little element positions or preventing them from interacting with the rest of the page, but it can be helpful in a lot of ways. Thank you so much for watching. Here are a list of some additional resources to help you learn a little bit more about Flexbox. Good night.